Okay, so we are in section 10.1, and we're going to learn our first counting technique. So the technique that we're going to get to in this section is called the sequential counting principle. But we're going to talk about a couple things before we get there. We're going to kind of motivate how and why that technique works the way it does and look at what situations to use it in. So we're going to start with an example. So in this example, it says, suppose we're at a restaurant and they give us different options to create a meal. So first we have to pick a salad. They give us 3 different choices. We can pick ranch, Italian, or Caesar. And you'll notice I'm just going to abbreviate words with just the first letter. So R for ranch, I for Italian, C for Caesar, so on. Then they give me a choice for entree, so we get 2 different choices, steak or fish. And then we get 2 different choices for dessert, a brownie or a hot fudge sundae. So to make my meal, I have to pick one thing from each thing. So I'm going to pick a salad, pick an entree, and then pick a dessert. And my question that I have to start us off with is how many different meals are possible? So obviously I could ask you, make one meal combination choice. So maybe in your head real quick you think about, well, what would you pick? Maybe you would pick Italian dressing with a steak and a brownie. Could be a meal combination, but then there's lots of other meal combinations. So my question is, how can we count all of the possibilities? So what we're going to do first, before we learn any fancy techniques, is we're just going to list them all and literally count them. Now, this is not a very efficient technique, and it's not really what we're going to use moving forward very often. That's not what this technique is. But it's going to help motivate how to do this sequential counting principle technique. So one way to list things is to draw a diagram. So we're going to use a specific kind of diagram called a tree diagram. And all it's going to do is it's just going to help organize to make sure that I get everything that's a possibility and don't miss anything. So we're going to think about, well, we start off kind of at a starting point where we haven't made any decisions yet. And then we have to think about what decisions, what different things do I have to do in this problem, kind of break it down into pieces. So if we think about it, well, the first thing I have to do is I have to pick a salad. So let's label up here, pick salad. And if we think about how we can pick a salad, well, there's 3 different ways to do it, right? I can pick ranch, I can pick Italian, or I can pick Caesar. So what we're going to do is from that start point, we're going to write those 3 possibilities, and then we're going to draw kind of these little branches that go out to each of those possibilities. I'll draw these a little darker to make sure that you can see them. So basically, so far, we've had 3 different choices, 3 different options. We branched off 3 times. Now, let's think about what has to happen next. So after salad, well, then comes entree. So then after that, I'm going to pick that entree. And so, well, let's think about, even if I had picked, say, ranch to start with, I now have a choice of either steak or fish. So off of ranch, I'm going to put 2 different branches. One is going to be steak, and one is going to be fish. So essentially, we're kind of creating these different paths of what you could have done. Now, if I had picked Italian instead as my choice of dressing, well, I would still have those same 2 possibilities. I would still be able to then, for my entree, pick steak or pick fish. There's no restriction to, because of what salad you chose, you can pick different entrees. It's just those are the 2 options every time. Same with Caesar, steak or fish afterwards. So then we can think about, well, what comes next? So once we've picked an entree, then what do I do? Well, then I have to pick dessert. So when we pick a dessert, we can look at, well, what are our options? Well, for any salad and any entree I chose, I've got 2 options. I can choose a brownie or I can choose a hot fudge sundae. So off of this top steak, I can do brownie or hot fudge. And then off of fish, I can do brownie or hot fudge. And then off of this steak, brownie, hot fudge, because notice that one was a different one. That was the steak that came from after picking Italian, which is a different choice than the top one. So after all of these, we're going to get a brownie, hot fudge. We'll get 2 little branches off of each of them. Brownie, hot fudge. And so then what we can see what we've done in this tree diagram is we've actually listed every single possible meal combination. And what we can do is we can read them by going through the different branches. If I follow this very top branch, well, I chose ranch, steak, and a brownie. So I'd have like my final meal would be ranch, steak, brownie. Whereas if I went ranch, steak, but then down to the second branch in that top last category or column, then that meant that I did ranch steak with hot fudge. Now, instead of choosing steak though with ranch, I could have gone down this lower branch and done ranch fish brownie. So I could have done ranch fish with a brownie or ranch fish with a hot fudge sundae. And notice that's all of the branches that came off of ranch. So then next would be coming into the Italian branch. So if I choose Italian, then I could choose steak brownie, say. So Italian steak brownie, Italian steak hot fudge. We could instead do Italian fish. So Italian fish brownie, Italian fish hot fudge. And then we have all the Caesar options. So Caesar steak brownie, Caesar steak hot fudge, Caesar fish brownie, Caesar fish hot fudge. And now all we have to do is count them up. So just see how many did we come up with. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 meals are possible. So 12 different meals are possible at this restaurant with how they've described the menu. And so what we did, again, was we got it by listing all the options. Now, in the future, we're going to try and move away from that because it's not really efficient, and really all I wanted was that final number of 12. I didn't really care what the list of options was. I just needed to know how many were there. So we're going to try another similar example. You're going to do it on the worksheet. So that'll be in the next video. And then what we're going to do is compare the two to try and see if we can find any patterns or any things that we can generalize to find a faster, more efficient technique for how to do this. So give that next problem on your worksheet a try and hop on the next video to see the solution for it.